Megan Rhodes sat in her car across the street from the courthouse, fingers resting lightly on the wheel as she watched her sister descend the steps. Olivia Rhodes stumbled in expensive heels, reporters crowding her, cameras flashing as tears streaked her makeup. Megan didn't move. For 8 years, Olivia had taken from her every relationship, every piece of happiness, always deliberate, never accidental. Now, seeing her crumble in public, Megan felt no joy. Only stillness. "You finally met someone worse than you," she whispered. The engine hummed as she turned the key, but she stayed parked. Justice, she had learned, rarely arrived loudly. Sometimes it showed up quietly, in consequences no one could escape. 8 years earlier, Megan was 22 and deeply in love with Ryan Blake. They met in a campus bookstore, both reaching for the same book. "You can take it," Ryan smiled. Their relationship grew through quiet nights, shared dreams, and simple moments. He understood her in ways no one else had. When Thanksgiving came, Megan brought him home. "My family can be intense," she warned. Ryan laughed. "I'll be fine." But when they arrived, Olivia opened the door. Beautiful, confident, and already studying Ryan closely. "So this is him," she said, holding his hand too long. Megan felt uneasy but ignored it. She trusted her sister. That was her first mistake. Dinner felt wrong from the start. Olivia leaned in toward Ryan, laughing too much, asking personal questions. "Maybe you can help me study sometime," she said, smiling. Megan tried to ignore it. 3 weeks later, she surprised Ryan with takeout. The door was unlocked. Laughter came from the bedroom. Her heart dropped. She pushed the door open. Olivia lay in his bed. Ryan jumped up. "Megan, wait," he started. Olivia stretched calmly. "It's exactly what it looks like," she said. Megan stood frozen. It wasn't just betrayal. It was how easy it was for Olivia. No guilt. No hesitation. Just certainty. Megan drove home crying, expecting comfort. Instead, her mother sighed. "These things happen." Her father added, "Don't rush relationships next time." No one defended her. Olivia sat quietly, untouched by blame. Weeks later, Megan found Olivia's hidden journal. Inside were notes, names, habits, details Megan had shared. One line froze her. Phase 1 complete. Megan is predictable. 3 weeks. Megan's hands shook. It had never been love. Olivia didn't want the men. She wanted to take them from her. That night, Megan understood the truth. This wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. And it wouldn't stop on its own. It took Megan 2 years to trust again. She stopped sharing her life and avoided bringing anyone home. Olivia moved on easily, even dating Ryan publicly before discarding him. When Megan met Daniel Hayes, she kept him hidden from her family. Their relationship grew slowly and safely. "I just need time," she told him. Daniel understood. But on her birthday, her mother insisted on dinner. Megan finally agreed. "Just dinner, then we leave," she said. Daniel nodded. But when Olivia walked in wearing a striking red dress, her eyes locked onto Daniel instantly. Megan felt it again, that same tension. The game wasn't over. It had just been waiting. Throughout dinner, Olivia focused entirely on Daniel. She asked about his work, his hobbies, his plans, leaning closer each time he answered. "You seem different from the others," she said, smiling softly. Megan kept her voice steady, trying to keep control of the conversation. But Olivia always found a way to redirect it. Halfway through dinner, she spilled wine on her dress. "Oh no," she laughed. "Daniel, could you help me upstairs? I need something to clean this." Megan's chest tightened. "I can help," she said quickly. Olivia waved her off. "It's fine." Daniel hesitated, then followed Olivia. They were gone too long. After dinner, Olivia claimed her car wouldn't start. Daniel spent 20 minutes outside trying to fix it while Olivia stood close, laughing at everything he said. Megan watched from the doorway, silent. On the drive home, Daniel was unusually quiet. "She's interesting," he finally said. Megan stared ahead. "She does this," she replied softly. "Just stay away from her." Daniel nodded, but something had already shifted. Megan could feel it. 3 weeks later, Daniel ended things with a short message. No explanation, no conversation. Just distance. That same weekend, Olivia posted a photo with him online. "Sometimes things just happen," the caption read. Megan didn't cry this time. She felt empty. When she confronted Olivia, her sister didn't deny it. "Men choose," Olivia said calmly. "If they choose me, maybe ask why." Their parents dismissed it again. "Coincidence," their mother said. Therapy helped Megan see the truth. Olivia wasn't impulsive. She was intentional. Distance alone wouldn't stop her. Megan began cutting off access. New phone, fewer details, limited contact. When she met Ethan Cole, a quiet teacher who loved books, she told no one. For 8 months it worked. Megan felt safe again. Until one afternoon at a weekend market, Olivia appeared out of nowhere, smiling. "And who is this?" Olivia asked brightly, shaking Ethan's hand. That was all it took. Within weeks, she inserted herself into his world, joining his book club, volunteering at his school, calling him with fake emotional stories. Megan saw it happening again, step by step. When she finally confronted Ethan, he looked conflicted. "She said you've always been jealous of her," he admitted. Megan felt something inside her break completely. That night, their relationship ended. Megan sat alone, staring at her phone, realizing escape wasn't enough. Olivia didn't need access. She only needed opportunity. After Ethan, Megan stopped dating entirely. Not out of fear, but clarity. She began studying Olivia's behavior, patterns, triggers, weaknesses. Olivia didn't want love. She wanted control. Megan focused on her career, earned a promotion, and built a life that didn't revolve around relationships. "You seem different," her friend said one day. Megan nodded. "I stopped playing the same game." Then she discovered something that explained everything. Their shared family phone plan had allowed Olivia to track her calls and location for years. Megan stared at the screen, realization settling in. "So that's how," she whispered. That night, she changed everything. 3 months later, Megan attended a professional conference in Chicago. That was where she noticed Victor Hale. He stood out immediately. Sharp suit, confident voice, the kind of man people listen to without question. Megan didn't approach him. She observed. The way he scanned the room, adjusted his tone depending on who he spoke to, controlled attention effortlessly. When he finally approached her, she kept it brief. "I'm not interested," she said calmly. Victor smiled, intrigued. Men like him didn't accept rejection easily. That was exactly why Megan walked away. That night, she researched him carefully. Lawsuits, failed ventures, women who disappeared financially ruined. Victor wasn't just charming. He was dangerous. For the first time, Megan saw something clearly. Olivia always targeted safe men, kind, predictable, easy to manipulate. Victor was the opposite. He hunted people who thought they were in control. The symmetry was undeniable. Megan didn't need revenge. She needed an ending. So she created distance, just enough to make Victor curious, then pulled away completely. Weeks later, at a family fundraiser, Olivia noticed him immediately. "Who is that?" she asked, already interested. Megan kept her tone neutral. "Just someone I met briefly." Olivia smirked. "You always attract interesting men." Megan said nothing. The moment had already begun. Olivia thought she was about to win again. Within days, Olivia started talking about Victor constantly. "He's different," she told their parents. "Successful. Ambitious." Megan stayed quiet, letting Olivia build her own story. Victor played his role perfectly. Expensive dinners, confident promises, a lifestyle that looked effortless. Olivia was drawn in quickly. She always was. Megan noticed the warning signs early. Victor avoided details. His stories shifted. His availability was inconsistent. But Olivia didn't question it. She never had. To her, confidence was proof. Megan didn't interfere. She knew better. Olivia never listened to warnings. She only believed what made her feel powerful. The relationship moved fast. Too fast. Within weeks, Olivia was showing off gifts, talking about future plans, hinting at investments Victor had promised. "He says I don't need to work anymore," she said proudly. Megan raised an eyebrow. "That sounds risky." Olivia laughed. "You wouldn't understand." Their parents were impressed, easily convinced by Victor's confidence. Megan watched quietly. She had seen this pattern before, only this time the stakes were higher. Victor wasn't someone you walked away from easily. He was someone you got trapped by. And Olivia had already stepped too far in to notice. Soon, Olivia began asking Megan small questions. "What do you think he wants long-term?" she asked casually. Megan shrugged. "Men like him don't rush." Olivia frowned slightly, but brushed it off. That same night, Megan received a message from Victor. She didn't reply. Instead, she saved it. Screenshots, timestamps, details. She wasn't interfering. She was documenting. Megan understood now. Truth only mattered when it could be proven. Everything else could be twisted. And Olivia was walking into something that wouldn't just break her heart. It would destroy everything she had built. 2 months later, Olivia announced her engagement. The ring was large, her smile forced but proud. "He proposed last night," she said, waiting for approval. Their parents were thrilled. Megan hugged her briefly. "Congratulations," she said softly. Olivia leaned closer. "You see, he chose me." Megan met her eyes calmly. "I hope he's everything you think he is." Olivia smirked, confident as ever. "I always get what I want." Megan watched her walk away, already understanding the truth. Olivia hadn't won. She had volunteered. And this time, the cost would be far greater than anything before. Wedding plans took over Olivia's life immediately. She quit her job, focusing entirely on the event. "This isn't just a wedding," she said proudly. "It's a statement." Expensive venues, designer dresses, large deposits. Money flowed without hesitation. When their mother asked how they were paying for everything, Olivia waved it off. "Victor has investments coming through." Megan noticed Victor was rarely present. Always busy. Always unavailable. Olivia interpreted absence as importance. Megan recognized it as avoidance. But she stayed silent. Olivia never listened to caution. Only admiration. The first crack appeared during a dress fitting. Olivia's card was declined. She laughed it off nervously. "Bank issue," she said. She tried another card. Declined again. The room fell quiet. Olivia stepped outside to call Victor, returning moments later with forced confidence. "Transfers are delayed." Megan watched carefully. Beneath the smile, fear had started to form. The same fear she had seen in others before. Panic hidden behind pride. But Olivia refused to acknowledge it. Soon, Olivia began borrowing money. Small at first, meals, errands, then larger requests. She asked their parents to co-sign a loan. "Just temporary," she insisted. "Victor will cover everything." Their parents agreed, trusting her completely. Megan said nothing. Interference would only push Olivia deeper. Victor became harder to reach. His explanations stayed smooth but vague. Market delays. Investment issues. Olivia repeated his words without question. She had built her identity on control. Admitting doubt would mean admitting weakness. Weeks passed, and the situation worsened. Olivia quietly sold designer items, returned purchases, and avoided conversations about money. The wedding date shifted, then shifted again. Invitations were delayed. Excuses multiplied. Victor was always just out of reach. Megan watched the illusion crumble piece by piece. Olivia wasn't just losing control. She was losing everything she had built her identity on. And for the first time, there was no one left for her to manipulate, no one left to outshine. Only consequences waiting patiently. The night before the wedding that never happened, Olivia sat alone in her apartment surrounded by unopened boxes and unpaid bills. Her phone lay silent beside her. Victor hadn't answered in 3 days. She called again, pacing the room. "Pick up," she whispered, her voice breaking. Voicemail. Again. And again. The silence felt heavier each time. The illusion she had built was collapsing, but she refused to say it out loud. Not yet. She stared at her reflection, mascara smudged, hands trembling. For the first time, she didn't look powerful. She looked uncertain. The call finally came the next morning, but it wasn't Victor. It was a detective. Calm, direct, professional. "We need to speak with you regarding Victor Hale," the voice said. Olivia froze. Her stomach dropped instantly. "What about him?" she asked. The answer came in pieces. Fraud. Multiple victims. Missing funds. By the time the call ended, Olivia's world had shifted completely. Victor wasn't delayed. He was gone. And everything tied to him, money, promises, future, had never been real. Olivia arrived at their parents' house shaking, her voice barely steady. "He took everything," she whispered, collapsing onto the couch. Their parents stared at her in disbelief. Papers spread across the table. Contracts, signatures, agreements Olivia had signed without reading. "You agreed to this?" her father asked quietly. Olivia nodded weakly. "He said it was routine." Megan stood nearby, silent, watching the truth unfold. Not with satisfaction, but with recognition. Olivia was finally facing something she couldn't charm or manipulate her way out of. The investigation moved quickly. Detectives reviewed documents, tracing financial damage across multiple accounts. "His companies don't exist," one officer explained. "You're legally responsible for what you signed." Olivia shook her head in disbelief. "He told me." "He told you what benefited him," the detective replied. Their parents' anger shifted. Not just toward Victor, but toward Olivia. "We trusted you," their mother said quietly. "We believed you." Olivia had no answer. For the first time, silence wasn't strategy. It was reality. Legal consequences followed. Not prison, but probation, restitution, and mandatory oversight. The judge's words were firm. Being deceived does not remove responsibility. Outside the courthouse, cameras waited. Olivia kept her head down, avoiding every lens. Megan stood at a distance, watching quietly. This moment wasn't revenge. It was resolution. Years of unchecked behavior had finally met something stronger than manipulation, accountability. And for the first time in her life, Olivia couldn't escape it. Outside the courthouse, Olivia paused before getting into the car. She looked at Megan, her eyes no longer sharp or confident. "You knew," she said quietly. Megan held her gaze. "I understood," she replied. Olivia swallowed hard. "I thought I was smarter than everyone." Megan shook her head slightly. That was always the problem. There was no anger in her voice, only clarity. Olivia nodded once, then turned away. For the first time, she didn't try to argue, didn't try to win. She simply walked. The months that followed were nothing like Olivia's old life. She moved into a small apartment far from the city center. No luxury, no attention, no admiration. Just bills, work, and silence. She took 2 jobs, one at a retail store, another handling late-night shifts at a small office. Every dollar went toward repayment. The lifestyle she once flaunted was gone. Megan heard updates from their parents but didn't interfere. Distance was no longer protection. It was peace. Therapy became part of Olivia's routine. At first, she resisted it, sitting through sessions in silence. But slowly, the truth surfaced. Patterns she had ignored. Behaviors she had justified. "I didn't want them," Olivia admitted one day. "I wanted to win." Saying it out loud felt heavier than anything before. For years, she had measured her worth through control, through taking what wasn't hers. Now, there was nothing left to take, only herself to face. One evening, Olivia called Megan. The number surprised her. Megan answered after a pause. "I finally understand," Olivia said quietly. Megan didn't respond immediately. "Understanding is a start," she replied. Olivia exhaled shakily. "I thought I was better than you. Than everyone." Megan's voice remained calm. "You were just avoiding yourself." Silence followed. Not tense, not hostile, just real. It was the first honest conversation they had ever had. Time passed, and Olivia began to change. Not quickly, not perfectly, but steadily. She stopped chasing attention and stopped comparing herself to others. She focused on small progress, paying debts, showing up to work, attending therapy. Their parents no longer protected her from consequences. They treated her differently now, with less praise and more truth. Megan watched from a distance, no longer involved in the cycle. The power Olivia once had over her was gone. What remained was something unfamiliar between them: space. And in that space, Megan found something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. Months later, Megan drove past the courthouse again. There were no reporters this time, no cameras, no chaos. Just quiet steps and ordinary people moving in and out. She slowed briefly, remembering everything that had happened there. The pain, the history, the long pattern that had finally ended. It all felt distant now. Not erased, but no longer controlling her. She didn't stop. She kept driving, leaving it behind without hesitation. Megan's life had shifted in ways she hadn't expected. Without constant disruption, she found stability. Her work improved, and she earned recognition at her company. Her friendships deepened, built on trust instead of fear. She no longer felt the need to hide parts of her life. For the first time, she felt in control, not of others, but of herself. That difference changed everything. One afternoon, Megan ran into Daniel at a quiet cafe. He looked surprised. "Megan," he said awkwardly. She nodded calmly. There was no tension, no pain. Just distance. "I hope you're doing well," he added. Megan gave a small smile. "I am." And she meant it. Whatever had happened before no longer mattered. It no longer defined her. Later that evening, Megan received a message from Olivia. "I paid off another part of my debt," it read. No pride. No comparison. Just honesty. Megan looked at the message for a moment before replying. "Keep going." It was simple but real. Their relationship was no longer built on competition. It was built on boundaries. The cycle that once defined them was over. Not because one defeated the other, but because both had changed. Olivia faced consequences. Megan walked away from the need to compete. What remained was distance, understanding, and quiet acceptance. And for the first time in years, neither of them was trying to win. A few weeks later, Megan visited a quiet park after work, sitting on a bench as the sun dipped low. She watched people pass, couples talking, children laughing, life moving without tension or competition. For the first time, she didn't feel like she was missing something. She felt complete on her own. That realization settled deeply. Her happiness no longer depended on anyone else's choices, and no one could take it from her again. Olivia's progress remained slow but steady. She worked long hours, paid down debts, and kept attending therapy. She no longer posted her life online or sought validation from others. The attention she once craved had been replaced by something quieter: accountability. It wasn't glamorous, but it was real. And for the first time, she wasn't trying to be better than someone else. She was trying to be better than who she used to be. Their parents changed too. The favoritism that once protected Olivia faded under reality. Conversations became more honest, less comfortable, but more necessary. They no longer dismissed Megan's past experiences. Though they never fully apologized, their actions shifted. It wasn't perfect, but it was different. And for Megan, that was enough. One evening, Olivia called again. "I'm not asking for anything," she said quietly. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry." Megan listened without interrupting. The words felt unfamiliar coming from her sister, but they were sincere. After a pause, Megan replied, "I hear you. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't rejection. It was acknowledgement." And for now, that was all either of them needed. Months later, Megan drove down a new road, the city fading behind her. The past no longer followed her. She had rebuilt her life without revenge, without bitterness. Olivia was no longer her shadow, and the cycle that once defined them had ended. Some lessons came through pain, others through loss, but the strongest ones came through change. Megan smiled softly, steady and free, knowing she had finally stepped into a life that was entirely her own. Power built on taking from others never lasts. Sooner or later, someone arrives who takes it all back. True growth begins the moment consequences replace excuses, and healing begins when the cycle is finally broken. Thank you for listening, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel. It really means a lot to us.